Hotel Boudica. War has found us.
Oh, Barbarossa.
Take the temple!
Storm is coming, reveal the mystery. Hidden warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Like a beacon, spread the words. The world cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the King of Glory. The symbol, touch the sky. Together, heart champion. Charge without fear. Climb the highest mountain. mystery. Hidden warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Light a beacon, spread the words. The war cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the kingdom of glory. The symbol touch the sky. Together, are the champions. Charge without fear. Climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sound of war fill the planet. We are the heroes that will make history. Once we'll spread through kindness. Temple the God will walk our storm is coming. Reveal the mystery. Hidden warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Light a beacon, spread the words. The war cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the kingdom of glory. The symbol touch the sky. Together, we are the champions. Charge without fear. Climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sound of war fill the planet. We are the heroes that will make history. Once we'll spread through kindness. Temple the God will walk our
Hello and welcome everyone to the Osiris League Grand Prix. We'll be casting a number of matchups throughout the day, but first up, we're going to be spectating 75 DC versus 466S. 75 DC is from the International Rise of Kingdom servers, and 466S is from the Chinese servers. I'll be your host today, Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. I'm Chiscool Gaming, and I'm very hyped that we'll be casting this Ark of Osiris League matchup. Now, in this matchup, there's a bunch of stuff that you can expect to see, but let me give you a little bit of what you need to know about the Grand Prix tournament format. There are 16 teams, and these are top-tier teams from both different servers and realms, and this is a level playing field. Everybody's got the same building blocks that they're going to be working with. Now, this is exciting because we're going to get to see the best of the best slug it out, and unlike in other formats where you've got access to all the commanders but no equipment, in this format, in the Grand Prix, everybody has access to 5 pieces of literally every piece of equipment in the game. And although there are no special talents on that equipment, what's exciting here is that things like, for example, provisioning come back into play. So this is going to be really exciting to spectate. However, there's more to talk about here. There's more to talk about here. Which is that? I want to give you just a little bit of information about these games. First of all, let me go back to that frame here, the matchup, okay? On the left, 75 DC is in a very young realm in the international servers. The Dynastic Conqueror team is the Osiris League Season 7 Realm of Sobek champion. On the right-hand side, you've got the team from the Chinese servers, 466S. This team is the newly crowned champion in the Anubis division, and they've overwhelmed other teams at a higher level. They're rising stars in the Chinese servers and could be top contenders for the championship in the Horus division next season. So 466S are your Season 4 champions in the realm of Anubis in the Chinese servers. So this is going to be an exciting matchup, and it's the first one we'll be spectating in this format with Fog and the new Alliance skills. Now, we're going to have vision to everything, but I am really hyped for all of this. Now, I'm just going to do a couple things logistically to make sure that we're all 100% set up to spectate today's matchup, and we'll be off to the races in just a moment here. But I just am going to confirm one other thing with my co-casters. And we'll be off to the races. All right, folks. With that message sent away, I am really hyped for this matchup, which begins in just 1 minute. Now, as a reminder, we're on a very heavy stream delay. 12-minute delay, in fact. And the reason for this is that while we want to showcase the matchups here, we don't want to reveal strategic information because, as I was describing, Fog is at play, but we've got vision of all of it, everything. So we can look at the perspective from each team to see what they see. And let me tell you, I think the vision changes for this game mode is probably the best change that has happened to Ark of Osiris since the beginning of the format. Second best thing is probably the skills, which are really cool. But the combination of powerful skills with imperfect information, you don't know where your enemy is or what they're doing, is really cool. And what do I expect to see in this matchup? Well, quite frankly, I anticipate that we will see some really powerful plays where the Ark is transported some great distances to score major points. But with all that said, I think I can jump into the matchup now. So I'm going to do that on my end, and we'll be able to see all the action. In fact, just like that, we're in on the match. So let me show you the same thing here. And, I'm just confirming one other thing with my co-casters. And we'll be off to the races here in just a second. All right, into the game we go, everybody. Here we go. All right. On the left, in blue, we've got 75 DC. And on the right, in red, with the tiger icon, 466S. Now, one thing that is interesting about this format and our spectating it is that we've been instructed to show the skill bars from both teams. So everyone spectating everywhere will have vision to the skill bars. So there's a couple things that we can already start to look at, and we can see actually at a glance, both teams have arrived on the exact same set of skills that they're going to be using. And I'll point out that their top-end skills for 6 points are Master Strategist and To the Death. Both very powerful abilities. One, transporting the Ark or your team great distances, or maybe both. And the other, letting you smash your enemies, although you can't receive heals at the time that you have To the Death active. Now, that said, there is also a major healing ability that both teams have selected. All right. Now, looking around here, I think there was a minor hiccup that hopefully by the time you're watching this will be resolved with the stream. And I'm just checking in with my co-casters now on that one logistical item. We'll be able to find out in a second. There we go. Yeah, we are good, everybody. And the matchup begins in 3 seconds. Okay, here we go. Hidden Sentry deployed off rip. A great choice. It's nice to get vision to what's happening, and we see Red has deployed their sentry on the left-hand side of the map, getting vision towards Shrine of War and the Sky Altar. Blue team, 75 DC, now mirroring Hidden Sentry deployed to, yes, a mirror play in the exact same side of the board. Now, you know, look, the thing that is so important about the sentry is it is giving you vision to what the enemy team is doing. Putting it on this side is allowing you to see a couple things. Is your enemy walking up to the Shrine of Life, or are they more likely going to the Desert Altar? Now, your enemy could try to avoid vision from this sentry, but doing so increases their walking distance quite significantly. And wow, on the top of walking distance, fast plays from 466S, taking both outposts very, very quickly. Very exciting as they make their way up the field. We see this is a little bit slow here. I mean, you know, look, I have judged teams in the past for how quickly they make their entrance into the map, because this is the one part of the show that's scripted, folks. Teams have their plan. There's no adjusting to what the enemy is doing at this point. You can't see the enemy at this point. So, ooh, okay, there we go. Final obelisks flip over at about the same time here, and we've got 12 rallies active. So I am curious to see, let's see, 4 obelisks and an outpost. And it is really, oh, wow. Actually, look at all that. 3 outpost rallies over here. So, a lot of structures are getting rallied by both teams. Almost every single structure by both teams, but not actually every single structure. And now we can see where they're going. Where will the first fight be? And you can see why this sentry is so interesting. If we look at Red's perspective, they don't know the sentry is there. If we look at Blue's perspective, well, they know that these folks are sneaking behind the Sky Altar. Now, they can't see that they're going all the way up over here, I think, but exciting plays perhaps going on toward the Shrine of Life. Looking down to the southern side of the map, what can we learn? Huge force moving to the south. Let's get the visual range back to both teams. Ooh. And a nice play toward this Sky Altar here. We'll see if they turn around and go back down toward the Shrine of Life, or if they hang out at the Sky Altar. Regardless, action is imminent. Very exciting. Those fast-moving players deciding, what do I do with the remainder of my march here? Looks like that's a double C with probably Honda Tadakatsu. Yes, indeed. I'd recognize those antlers anywhere. We're just going to flip off the simplify graphics here. And it does look like rather than resetting their march, they're going to just send it downfield to try to get something done. Also, Justinian rally on its way down here. That is headed toward the obelisk, but I assume, yes, indeed, they've canceled it. I need not look southerly because that rally got canceled. So here we go. Battle about to begin. And there it is. First blood on the southern part of the map. Battle for the Desert Altar begins. Now take a moment to appreciate the combos that are being used here, because these players have access to every commander in the game. So if they're using them, they must think that they are very good. By the way, that does look like Jan Ziska with Jadwiga as an intended garrison captain. Love that they've got a couple marches staged here to go and fulfill that role. Also, a part of the beauty of this setup is that, hey, look, everybody can be a garrison captain that fills the garrison. Unlike other situations where you might have your best gear spread around on different commanders that are deployed other places. Here, make them the captain, man. Easy choice. You can have lots of captains available. So you would expect to see really great captains in every garrison. All right. Let's look to the top side. Desert Altar. Cleaned up by 75 weight. Yes. This is a curious attack here from behind by 466S. I don't know that it can get anything done. Maybe they can get into the garrison. Hera steps into the garrison over there instead. And they were able to get the Shrine of Life in 466S in the top side of the map. Okay. Jan Ziska, the garrison here. I wonder if a part of the reason they're using this as a captain march is just because it marches so fast. You know, look, march speed is so important in this game mode. And cavalry just move faster. I mean, even if you think infantry are better, the march speed is significant. Now, we do see this Desert Altar being held by 75 DC, which is super advantageous. If they can keep it for another 2 minutes and 10 seconds, they'll get those first capture points. Those first capture points, very critical in moving the scoreboard slightly in your favor. However, without a proper captain here, they are going to struggle. Jadwiga now made captain, but there's really not enough troops left in order to get the job done here. And can I just point out, we see some Ethelfled Trajans on the map, baby. People tell me all the time that Trajan is dead, and I just have to keep saying, man, that is just not true. The best teams in the game with access to everything are choosing to bring the free-to-play Ethelfled. Wait a minute, that's Ethel Justinian. Oh man, there are all kinds of combos on the board today. They're also bringing Trajans, though. All right. Wow, Ethel Justinian. I mean, I'm going to have to rethink my life choices a little bit here and unpack that one after the stream is over to say, wait a minute, what are we doing? But if you think about the museum buff that's on Ethelfled, the march speed is really good. And if you're trying to make a lot of cavalry marches at the start of the match to just get places quickly, then hey, Justinian is a great choice. Of course, here's a Trajan. I'd recognize that furry bear cloak anywhere, right? That's an Ethel Trajan there. Anyways, back around the map we go. Does look like the obelisk is getting swarmed. 75 DC going for a big play on the 466S obelisk. If they can take this and hold this, it would be insane. But that Jan Ziska is looking mighty sturdy in the garrison on that obelisk. No, he flips red. Hold on. Even just getting a capture on this would be meaningful. Oh man, look at that. All those Trajans running around. That was a Caesar Trajan going to fill the garrison. Part of the reason you'd use those together is for march speed and troop capacity. Looks like this garrison is probably safe at this point, but if they'd been able to take the obelisk, whoo, exciting stuff could happen. Also, Liu Chat with Alexander the Great being deployed here, presumably for the march speed. I'm actually really learning a lot just from looking at all these different combos. Sky Altar is currently red. Gonna need to hold that for a while to start ticking for points, but the building advantage is in the hands of 466S. Looking around here, Shrine of Life currently being rallied, but there is field support for 466S. Boom, new hidden sentry getting deployed. Let's get a look here. We are going to need to watch the middle of the map. Blue sentry being deployed in the center in the protection of all the marches. Okay. I like this placement a lot. Looks like 466S has already deployed their sentry elsewhere. Here we are, awaiting the fight in the center. Now we can get a look around and see if other exciting stuff is happening. I would assume they want to get this Sky Altar back, but 466S does have a lot of marches still committed here, and yes, here comes the rally, Henry lead, along with a garrison captain and other marches to support. So they're on their way down, marching downfield. And let's go back to mid, because I really want to just keep my eye on this. Okay, we go back top. A little bit of pressure on the Shrine of Life, but that is fine. Looks like some marches resetting all around the map. Rally in on Shrine of Life, but reinforcements are here for 466S, so they'll probably be fine. I don't know. I actually am not so sure. 75 DC may get that Shrine of Life in time for the mid-fight, giving them health and march speed. That's a 5% boost to both. And the teams are collecting in the middle. Are you hyped for the very first mid-brawl in your Osiris League Grand Prix in November of 2023? I am hyped. This is where it happens, folks. Are you actually better in a mid-fight? The outcome of this determines so much. I mean, not only are there points at stake, and on the topic of points, my goodness, look at the lead that 466S has pulled on this structure game. Wow. Very impressive. They've got a 2,000-point lead going into the first arc. The first arc, I mean, that's half an arc worth of points right there. So the building game really panning out well for 466S, but do they have the arc game as well? That's the question now. By the way, if you are hyped and looking forward to this mid-brawl, ooh, it begins now. Total Vision. Okay, well, while we wait, I thought they were going to start to throw down, but while we wait, hey, here's a little gift code. Here's a little gift code on the screen. We'll put this on the screen periodically. And the mid-brawl begins. Here we go. Total Vision, mirror play by both teams. Now, Dust Up activated. And Heaven's Grace. So we are seeing slightly different plays here being made by both teams. Heaven's Grace is a colossal healing ability. It's one of my favorites, healing everyone on the map for 10 seconds. Now, it is a healing factor, so there is an advantage when you're using a healing factor to activate that heal when you have a lot of troops. If we zoom out, we can get a better sense of the number of marches that are sad-facing, and this, to me, looks very even, which is kind of what you would expect to see. Very exciting mid-fight here. Looks like perhaps more sad faces. However, from 75 DC, who is going to get this first arc? It's 466S. Hidden Sentry now deployed in the upper portion of the map for 466S. And zooming out, gosh, I think 466S is winning this mid-fight, but a bunch of marches for 75 DC have diverted to the south to try to knock down that arc carrier. 75 DC now taking the arc and moving it to their side. An important play, but I don't think they've got the support to make that happen. Carrier is down. Now remember, taking the arc is good, but crazy things happen on the way to scoring this first arc. So let's see if this arc is actually able to get a clean walk to where it's going, or if 75 DC is going to try to ambush the carrier. Now, the carrier is moving to the south, and they are hugging the canyon wall, so if they're going to attack this position, it's going to have to be through the 466S Desert Altar. And if we just look, we really don't see that kind of movement happening right now that would be necessary to make that happen. In fact, a rally is on its way over to the Shrine of Life, so it could be that 75 DC is resigned to lose this first arc. It's a little surprising that they are not contesting the arc here. But maybe they feel their best hope is to go for the buildings. I mean, if we just look around, I just don't see the pressure that would be needed to contest it. In fact, they've kind of got rallies all over the place. And I don't know. I mean, I wonder if those same marches had perhaps been in the mid-fight. Would they have won the arc instead? I sort of feel like for a lot of gameplay in Osiris League, you kind of have to move all in, pushing the limits on exactly how much you commit to any one place at one time. Of course, the magic is if you can get the exact right amount in the exact right place, but on the extreme of things, you know, if you just bring more marches to the middle, if you're equally skilled, you're gonna win. So in a game mode like this, where all things are otherwise equal, there is a lot of value to consolidating more players to an activity. Here we see that Shrine of War flipping back to blue, then back to red. Whoopsies. They took the structure, then accidentally got out. You know, this happens to the best of us, really. You've got your marches set to a group, and then you attack something, and then they all leave the structure. Whoopsies. So they do need to attack that back. They are seeing that. Boudica is now the captain. Boudica, not the best captain. Although if you do pair with Boudica Artemisia, I mean, at least she's technically a garrison captain, but I don't think that's what folks are using today. We'll try to get a peek at what combo is being used with Boudica, but this is the sort of map flipping goodness that the blue team needs to be doing. We do see that they've got the Shrine of Life in their favor. They've got a couple of these outposts in their favor. If they can start to get also some altars, then perhaps blue can make up these points. But they are actually missing their Shrine of War, and here comes the force to the Desert Altar. So far, it looks like 466S is perhaps a little bit driving the way this match is going. And 75 DC might be a little bit outmatched here. We've got not quite a 3,000 point lead on the board here with the arc in hand. So there's a bunch of points that are stacking up for 466S here, and they're looking really strong in this matchup. Frederick I, by the way, is the primary on the field. Presumably that's just a filling march. Guan Skippy on his way over to try to help here. Yes, in fact, that is a Freddy. You don't see Freddy Caesar every day, but remember, they have very large march capacity, so I expect they'll go back into the garrison in a moment. Perhaps. There's probably not even space. So they're waiting to get in. And this is looking really good for 466S. It's looking really good because they've got the arc, and they've got a advantageous board state, actually. They are probably even getting more points per minute. We get a look up here. They are. So this is a great position to be in. I mean, this is really where you want to be in the first 20 minutes of the matchup. You're holding an arc. I will point out one thing. You know, if I were holding this arc, I might not keep it so dang close to the obelisk. So I don't think this is going to happen. But, you know, if the obelisk is empty, you knock down the carrier by surprise and put it in the enemy's obelisk. Oh, man. I mean, that is the kind of play you love to see. You make that player the MVP of the game if they pull it off, but it isn't. It is uncommon, especially at this level of skill. So a couple things that we can key into here as, new Hidden Sentry is deployed on the left-hand side of the map. Now, we see that we're accumulating more points to deploy for skills in blue. And that is because they are behind on the leaderboard, and that is the way that mechanic works. If you are at a point disadvantage, you get more points per minute accumulating for your alliance skills. So we see 5 points available for the team in blue and 3 points available for the team in red. So at some point that translates into an advantage, but here's the tricky bit. Here is the tricky bit. You see, because 466S is holding the arc, they kind of control when those points can be used. It's a little bit weird, but what I mean by that is, look, you need to have the full complement of 10 points ideally to contest the arc. So you could use some points now, maybe, except there's not even a skill on the bar they could use. They could use Heaven's Grace for 4 points, but you'd never want to do that. So maybe in a couple minutes they could use a 2-point skill. That's conceivable. They have a pretty meaningful point advantage here, accumulating in those alliance skills. Here we see the 75 DC team taking the Desert Altar. A nice pickup, no captain yet available. The Ethel Trajans all over the map just makes me friggin' smile. You love to see the commanders that people think are not meta being used and considered meta. Love to see it. Love to see it. Big fight going on off to the side over here. Looks like 75 is trying to pressure the Shrine of War. The rally's already here, but Hera with YSS? Yep, there's the signature YSS boat, baby. Doing some serious work there. I really do think the Hera YSS is an incredible garrison. In a situation like this where you can bring mixed troops and swarming is likely, the shielding is just unbelievable in that combo. So from here, the arc can be held another 8 minutes. It's 36 minutes remaining in the matchup. Still plenty of time for things to happen, however. And in terms of, wait a minute. As I look on the left here, and I look at the alliance skills, did I perhaps misread that earlier? With regard to the total number of points that have been deployed by both teams, I think maybe I did. It looks like a more advanced skill had actually been deployed by 466S. It looks like they actually deployed, as we saw, the Heaven's Grace, which costs more than the 2-point, I believe that's Dust Up on the left. Okay, interesting, actually. So more points committed to the mid-fight, and they got the arc. That's something I'm going to have to watch the replay and confirm, but I think that's right. Here I thought the point differential was a result of the disparity in the scoreboard, but I'm not sure that's actually the case. So we look around here. Still 6 minutes to hold this arc if they want to, and they sure want to. I mean, look, even though they won the mid-fight, I would not call that a commanding, dominant victory, They won it, but it wasn't so one-sided that you would leave that situation thinking, I could score these arcs every single time. I mean, you'd feel good about your chances for the next arc, but you don't want to chance it. So given that they've got a building point lead, and they got an arc already, all they need to do is hold one more arc and they're good. And the crazy part about that is that, okay, they stall this arc as long as possible. Let's say 75 DC gets the next arc. Well, 75 DC is going to be far enough behind in points that they need to get 2 arcs. So 466S needs to get one of the 2 next arcs that spawn, and they win the game probably. So they're in a very good position here. All they need is one of the 2 next arcs, and they're good. Now, if they get the first of those arcs, they just hold it and they win. If they get the second of those arcs, well, then they win. So it's a good position to be in. The only thing that could change that dynamic is if 75 DC can rock the building game in a really powerful way, and I'm not sure that they can. We just haven't seen it yet. In fact, I mean, look, we just keep peeking at these points per minute. 590 for 466S to the 330 of the Dynastic Conquerors. So 466S is looking real good here in a building capacity and an arc capacity, and those are the main ways you score the points. So yeah, folks, you know, I've often said you got to be winning the building game or you got to be winning the arc game, and you have to do one of those things. But right now 466S is doing both, and that is a really dangerous position for 75 DC. So here, yeah, I see they have moved the carrier slightly. That's nice. They're right next to a city. And by the way, in case you're wondering, why is everyone so high power? Everybody's got the same number of troops to work with in this game mode. So at the start of the match, they've got the same troops, and as they fight, they do burn through those troops, although I don't expect they'll run out of any of the troops they need for today's contest. We see 4 minutes remaining on the arc. And looking around the map, I mean, 466S is about to start getting points per minute from this Desert Altar, although that is a huge presence from 75 DC looking to reclaim that Desert Altar. But I mean, look at these cav reinforcements arriving right on time. I don't think that I really don't think that the Jan Ziska can hold up to this swarm, though. The XY jumps into the garrison, but this is just oppressive for the swarm. Garrison captain's even swarming, which I like that call, by the way. While we progress through the match, in case you missed the code earlier, here it is again. Today's gift code on screen. Ooh, a Gorgo garrison. You know, this is the first time we've seen Gorgo all match, and I think it's because even though she's very good, as I described earlier, march speed matters. And look at that shielding. I want you to look at that 0 number that shows up from the Hera. Boom. Okay, well, must not have happened there because it ate the skill damage instead, perhaps. Anyways, there was a moment where 0 damage was being dealt, which I can assume is the shield doing its job. We look over here, Sky Altar getting pressured, 236 on the arc. I don't know how 75 DC would take the arc, but they kind of need to take this arc that's just sitting here. Like, I don't know if they could ambush this carrier, but man, if they could, oof, it would be good. They need it. The point differential here is really adding up, and that is just giving nothing but options to 466S. Now, why are options powerful? The thing is that when you can win by either buildings or arcs, it makes your opponent have to do both of those things well. And then, as the dominant force, you can just commit to one or the other, win because the enemy had to commit to doing both, and you only had to commit to doing one, and it's kind of GG. I've mentioned this in many Ark of Osiris streams. By the way, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already for Ark of Osiris League gameplay and casting. But I think the position that 466S is in here is really quite enviable. They've got control of the building game. They've got control of the arc. And that is terrifying. Also, we see that in just a moment here, the folks in 75 DC are going to be capping on points. Now, I think if you're in 75 DC, like, if you could find a way to use Dust Up, I guess you would do it. Is that right? I mean, you've got the points. We have perfect information here. But they don't. But you've got the points. Like, you probably activate the Dust Up. Find a place to use it. And by the time the arc fight happens, you've scored. You've got that regen, I would think, right? We look around here. Arc is chilling. Big rally plus swarm. In on the Shrine of Life. And you know what? I will say, as a caster, my goal is, of course, to be impartial. Although there is, of course, a part of me always rooting for the underdog to make a comeback here. You'd love to see 75 DC make a comeback from this position. It's just entertaining to watch. But I feel like if 466S keeps this up, I mean, they are looking like a freight train with an unbelievable amount of momentum here. Okay, ARC has been scored. And we're looking at a 7,400 point differential. That is tough. It's like I said, they have to get the next 2 arcs. So 75 DC needs to get this arc quickly, score it, and get the next arc. Now, hey, good news is that Master Strategist makes that a possibility. And here's that situation I was describing where they're capped out on points. They're at 10 points here. And they aren't using any skills. And we're really leaving the window where they could do that. Like, they could dust up this group. And, you know, they get some advantage, right? But they're opting to do nothing. Which I understand. They want to make sure they've got their points for the mid-fight. But I think given the time constraints, they actually have time to regenerate those points. So we watch this little tussle go down, and that's right, folks. You see it here. Saladin Ethel fled. No, wait, that's not Ethel. That's Saladin Honda Tadakatsu. So I really want to emphasize for a minute here just how important 466S thinks that March speed is. Like, they have access to every commander in the game, and they're bringing Saladin. Folks, Saladin. Also, they've got a double C with Honda Tadakatsu. I mean, they are really serious about their march speed. You know, it turns out that if you have the right troops and the best commanders, but if you aren't in the right place, it doesn't matter. So perhaps opting for a slightly less optimal commander pairing in order to have the march speed to be where they need to be. And I mean, is it paying off? Yep, sure is. It sure is. 75 DC did make a nice play here on the Desert Altar. That's good to see for them. And they are pushing down toward the obelisk. I like this for them. I worry a little bit, however, about the timing here. All these marches really kind of need to reset and get to middle already. Like they're even leaving the Desert Altar, like actually just leaving the Desert Altar to reset their marches, which... Oh, and then reinforcements are coming. I don't know. Superman with 3 marches. LMT with 3 marches. I'm not sure what the game plan is here, but they're missing a captain. That's going to hurt. Missing the captain means that garrison is all but guaranteed to fall. And if folks aren't in the middle in the next 2 minutes, I do worry about their ability to get to the middle in time. Three altars in the hands of 466S. They are just looking really coordinated here. And if we look at the points per minute, 410 to 470. Still in favor of 466S, just widening that lead constantly. So this mid-fight is really critical. We need to see 75 DC take this arc, score it, then turn around and get the next one. And it needs to happen fast. There's honestly not a lot of time for it. Let's just actually work that out for a second. So we've got roughly 4 minutes till the arc spawns. So we'll just call it 20 minutes remaining in the matchup when the arc spawns in. Now at that point in time, if they run the arc back in, let's call it 5 minutes, assuming that they're relatively uncontested, that means 15 minutes are left in the match. Then you've got 8 minutes left for the next arc to spawn. And, you know, maybe 7 minutes or so to score the next arc. I mean, it is achievable, but all 466S needs to do is pressure the buildings in a slightly disproportionate way, or get an arc, or stall the arc long enough, and they win. I mean, the number of win conditions here for 466S is really quite staggering. Wow, you don't see this every day. Tariq Ibn Ziyad rally with Pakal and Ark of Osiris League? Hey, man, I didn't expect to see it, but here it is. I'm going to have to tell my team I'm going to start rallying with Pakal. It's meta. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Pakal, of course, as you know, is very good anti-swarm technology. So if they were worried about their rally getting swarmed, which is happening, it's a pretty reasonable choice. Personally, the thing that I find, again, surprising about that is that the thing I think you want more than anti-swarm, generally, and hey, look, I'm not in this tournament, so their advice is better than mine, but I think generally what you want is not anti-swarm, but DPS. The thing you want your rally to do is to burst down the garrison so fast that even if you have 1 hit point left when you flip the garrison to be in your hands, you flipped the garrison, which means you disrupted the point flow. So I think higher risk rallies generally tend to be better. That's sort of my personal philosophy. I remember back in the day, I was like, oh, I'll rally with Pakal Herald, and my team was like, never do that ever again. This was a long time ago, okay, before we had Tariq Ibn Ziyad, but the point I'm trying to make is that Pakal, while being fine for anti-swarm, like, isn't doing the thing you need, which is to push through so much damage that the enemy doesn't have time to get to the garrison to reinforce it. All right, here we go. Mid-fight. I really, really, really like that 466S activates their skills a little bit early. The reason I like that is that it's allowing their points to regenerate, which might not matter, but it might matter. And at this point, 75 DC has burned at least 3 points, just sitting here at cap, which is unfortunate for them. So here we go. The mid fight, everybody. Are you ready? This is it. For 75 DC, this is everything. If 75 DC can take this arc, they have a game on their hands. It ain't easy. It's an uphill battle the whole way through, but the game is still on. But if 466S gets this arc, we are in GG territory. We are in big GG territory because they will have an overwhelming, insurmountable lead. 466S, the aggressor, moving in. Total vision, active for 75 DC. To the death for 466S and 75 DC. Okay. The big throwdown happening now. This is it. The whole enchilada, baby. Oh, that's a lot of 75 DC sad faces. That is a lot of 75 DC sad faces. 466S doing work, shredding through 75 DC. The arc is in. 2, 3 carriers attempting to grab. Wow, that is a lot of carriers trying to grab the arc. 4, 75 DC, and no, denied. 466S takes the arc. Wow. One guy versus the 3 from 75 DC saying, you thought you were faster than me? Nope. We've got this arc, and when we take this to our side, it's GG. Wow. Okay, so what do you do now? There's only one option. Chat, we have only one option. There's only one play left in the playbook. There's no points left to deploy. What happens now? You have to get this arc. They have to play for this arc. And here they are. Yeah, they're going for it. Or are they? These marches are low. Weird. They need to go for the arc. They're going the wrong way. They are actually going the wrong way right now. The one and only thing that can save this game is a miracle with this arc. They need to pull off an actual miracle with this arc. It's the only way. It's actually the only way. And look, miracles can happen. So we're going to watch this arc carrier very closely. What I want to see is the whole of 75 DC take this arc. I want them to win this game. They need to get this arc, score it at this altar, and then they need to get the next arc and score that too. And it would be, I mean, look, hey, I think 466S is in a dominant position. I think they are postured to win this game handily, but it is way more exciting gameplay if 75 DC can make this comeback, okay? So let's see if they can pull this off. 75 DC has to assault this position. This is the only relevant position now. Holding buildings is nice. I mean, you kind of have to hope you hold some buildings or you're going to lose anyways, but you definitely lose if this arc is scored. So they have to go for this arc. Again, it's the only way. It's the only way. So will they do it? Can they do it? I don't know. They're moving downfield. They are going for it. Sort of. What about on this side? Like, are they coming over? No. They're gummed up over here. Honestly, like, this position doesn't even matter. I don't think it does. I know it seems crazy to send people all the way from the other side of the map, but at the same time, like, the arc carrier is literally alone right now. Like, if you just ignore this fight, yeah, now they're doing it, and take out this carrier, like, you actually stall the game. They have to stall this game. But I don't think they can even get to the carrier in time now. Like, if this carrier is pressured now, it's too late. By the time they get to this carrier, he can just jump into a city if he's really in trouble. So I think 466S might be locking this up. They might be locking this up, folks. Uh-oh. Couple troops straying behind the line, but that arc is looking real safe. With 17 minutes left in the matchup, a massive point lead in favor of 466S and an arc in hand. Folks, I don't think a comeback is possible here for 75 DC. What would have to happen for 75 DC to win? Maybe if all of 466S disconnected, they took the arc, scored all the buildings, and held them for the remainder of the game, I guess they would win in that situation. But there are really not a lot of ways at this point for 75 DC to make their way back into this game. I don't know how you do it. I respectfully, I don't know how you do it. So what can we take away from this matchup? What did we learn? Well, perhaps that combo that was used in the beginning with the Heaven's Grace was the reason they got the first arc. Or there is perhaps some magic to the way that they're playing in mid. Maybe the combos they're bringing are just better in 466S. It is possible that there's some combination of gameplay and combinations of troops and talents that is giving them an advantage in those mid fights. So what we really should be doing here is studying the difference in the troops being deployed by both teams to see if we can spy what that advantage is. And let me just point out that the winning team has got Trajan all over this field, baby. All over this field. GG, Ethel Trajan. Wow. You know, what I think top tier teams do, I mean, if you really want to wail out and drop that flex on like an ultimate Arc of Osiris march, it's actually Ethel Trajan with cavalry gear crit leadership. I think that's the play. And you just run full calves. You can see, I think they are doing full calves. We don't know because that march is shrunk at this point because it's been fighting, but I don't think they go for the mixed troop benefit on Trajan. I think they just go with the full calves for pure march speed. And that's not a new thing. Like that has been my understanding of Osiris League meta for a while. It's just that there's very few people that are willing to commit to cavalry crit leadership gear for the Ethel. It's just a big commitment that you probably, I mean, you could use in KVK, but the better KVK march is probably the mixed troops crit infantry. That's probably the play. Wow. Looking around the map here. Oh, hey, Skippy Prime Garrison. Let's go. I think they're just refreshing their captain, and you can see the Yanziska Hera on their way in. You know, I will say another advantage of Ethel Trajan is, you know, not only does it move fast, but Trajan does have extra capacity, so you can also reinforce a garrison with that march, which is pretty nice. We see the Justinian, it's got to be Nevsky secondary rally going, right? Yep, that is a Nevsky. The Hera garrison, actually not well suited to handle this rally. Yeah, they switched to the Yanziska. I think that makes a lot of sense. Hera YSS is great anti-swarm, but struggles against a rally a little bit. I mean, maybe struggles is not the right word, but it doesn't do great against rallies. And yeah, I mean, you just switch to a different captain in this game mode, right? Easy choice. Easy choice. Wow. We just look around this map and it is an impressive position for 466S. They obviously are holding this arc. They're in no pressure to score it. I mean, throwing extra arcs into this matchup only convolutes things. They can lock up that W with an easy lead and just call it a day, and that's what they're going to do. Now, hey, what would I like to see them do? Hey, I want to see just score the arc. Let's get another arc contention. Come on, it'll be fun. But I don't think that's their game plan, you know? But I sure would love to see them do it. I actually would just say, hey, let's just score that arc. Okay? Let's have another arc battle. Shall we? Shall we? I mean, I think they win either way. So, come on. I don't think that point differential at all matters in this. I mean, you win, you advance. You lose, you do not. So, I don't know. Yeah, you know, a caster can dream, right? What do I want to see? More arc mid-brawls. Don't you want to see more arc mid-brawls? Okay? Unfortunately, I'm on a 12-minute delay, so even if they're, you know, spectating here, they're not going to hear me say that I want to see them score the arc to give us more entertainment. But you'd love to see it, right? You'd love to see the extra arc contention and see if, you know, maybe 75 DC finds a way to get that third arc. But one thing we will point out here is look at the combos here. Joan primary as opposed to Nevsky primary. I mean, we know Nevsky Joan is like the KVK combo that does more damage, but I really think the hasty departure in this game mode is critical, and the skill damage mitigation is critical. So you see a lot of Joan primary instead of Nevsky primary, which I think is very insightful. Also a lot of Hua William, which I think is great. And it looks like in order to get more cavalry marches running, they're using XY Justinian. So there's your like standard 3 cavalry combos. Let's run through that again. You've got Joan with Nevsky. You've got XY with Justinian. You have Hua with William. And if you're a real beast, you use Saladin with Honda? That's what we saw earlier? The 4X Cav combos, and then presumably you're like filling a garrison with a garrison captain somewhere, right? Or a filler march. Or maybe you're using Ethel Trajan, the real goat, Trajan wearing the bear. Let's go. He's been doing it for years, folks. Throwing down and taking names, baby. GG. Let's get a look around here. Arc is obviously just chilling. We're just chilling. Spectating 93 has taught me I need to look at that arc all the time. But few teams can pull that off like 93 can. I don't know, man. They sure have a way with contesting arcs that you'd think are locked up, but just aren't. So, you know what? Here's what I think needed to happen, actually. Are you ready for this? What I think 75 DC needed to do like 5 minutes ago is put a group of marches together and then master strategist those marches onto the arc. That's what I think they needed to do. That's what I think they, unironically, I think that's what they needed to do. I know that seems really silly, but I mean, look, you're not going to win doing the same thing you've been doing, right? Something's got to change. And even if that changes, I don't think you win. But like, the only way now is they get the arc. And like, the only way they get the arc is if this guy and their whole team is not paying attention and they pull off a master strategist. I mean, they still could do it. The problem is that they've now waited so long to do it that like, there's not going to be another arc spawn, right? Like they would have 3 to 5 minutes ago needed to master strategist onto this arc, take the obelisk, take the arc, and score it there, and then win the next arc. That's what they would need to do. But they would have to win that next arc with a 6-point disadvantage. I mean, hey, look, I'll just keep saying a caster can dream, okay? A caster can dream. Oh, man. In case you missed it earlier, here is today's gift code. I know it's the same code from earlier. Not everyone's been in the stream the entire time, so we just make sure everybody gets access to this code over here, all right? Enjoy the code. And let's keep looking around the map. Try to learn as much as we can, okay? See what we can see. Learn what we can learn. What can we take away? I mean, so Jan Ziska is an amazing garrison. There's that. There's just no denying it. Jan Ziska Hera is the garrison being used in Arc, and by the victor, by the way. And the thing that I'll say is noteworthy about that is that it's a Hera and it marches fast. Isn't that what we're here for? It's a Hera that marches fast. Like, that's what you need. So that's why they're using it. It's a way to bring cavalry, and it's probably better against a rally than the Hera YSS. .75 DC garrison getting swarmed here. It is also, I think, insightful that both teams have made the same choices. So both teams using the Jan Ziska with Hera means they've both arrived at that being meta. I mean, hey, look, that'll really be tested when they fight other teams and we see what they're using, but I think it is still pretty insightful. Here you can see probably Hera YSS doing work, right? Which is this is the situation where you tap in the Hera YSS and just handle that swarm. This is the way. .466S looking real strong. Also bringing kind of an absurd amount of cavalry marches. I kind of wonder if, like, the recommendation here, like, if you care about Ark of Osiris League and KVK, should you just go for 3 cav marches? Is that the play? Is that actually the play? I think it might be. I actually think if you want to make an ideal situation, now I kind of wonder. So if you want to make an ideal situation for Arc League, is it strictly speaking correct to in your 5 march configuration run 3 cavalry, 1 infantry, and 1 archer? Is that just the way to do it? I mean, the cavalry are good, right? We know they're good. They've always been good. And we know they just march faster. So, like, is cavalry just the best troop type to use? I think it is. I actually think it is now. Because if it's meta in Arc and it's fine in the field, just as good as anything else, then it's just a better way to build out your very expensive equipment sets that are really kind of difficult to change around. Or I shouldn't say difficult, but expensive to change around, right? So my takeaway here is actually the 3x cav ball is better. And if you're a cav garrison captain, then like 4x cav ball, maybe? Total vision being activated by 466S. And I mean, the real signal here of 75 DC having tapped out of the match is that they were capping on points, right? Like, they kind of forgot to use skills until they saw their enemy use a skill, and they're like, oh, yeah, let's use a skill. So I think they kind of see the writing on the wall. In fact, they've seen it for a while. And that's reflected in the lack of use of their skills here, right? Looking around the map. What else can we learn? Chat, hey, look, I'm just trying to learn as much as we can with the time that we have. With these teams that are both amazing. Look, although 466S has a pretty I would say, consistent control of this matchup from start to finish, that both of these teams would probably wreck your ARC team if you met them in a regular Osiris League game. So although 466S has proven the superior team today, there's no doubt that 75 DC is a very, very strong Osiris team as well. And I think that just really signals how strong 466S is. To win in this commanding way against such a strong team shows how impressive they are, and also shows, in my opinion, that, you know, look, no matter how good you are, there is always room to improve, because 75 DC is also a great team. Sky Altar. Rally. Ooh, timing of that's a little awkward. I mean, the rally finishes and then the cavalry get here. Quite literally the cavalry. I mean, it's like almost all cavalry. One infantry march and, you know, some archers. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is making me think. It's really making me think about cavalry in a sort of new way. I mean, at the end of the day, for me personally, I don't know. I'm in a garrison, some troop type anyways, that's probably not cavalry. But that 3 cav ball is actually looking real good. It's looking real good. All right, folks. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the match. 23,600 to 36,500. Pretty meaningful differential here. In terms of the overall score, they're honestly like even in the field, which means 466S is just kind of out coordinating. What I do find kind of surprising is the number of units healed for 466S. I think there's an insight there that we need to look at and study more. I think there's something very important that happened there that we need to understand. I wonder if that has to do with using a bunch of T1s at the start of the match, maybe to charge up your alliance energy. Is that possible? And then you just heal them up and send them out and heal them up and send them out? I'm not sure. There's something to that. Because I don't think you would need to heal otherwise. I mean, maybe they're using so many cavalry marches you actually do need to heal them. I'm not sure. I don't know. Chat says, Chiskel, stop persuading people to use Trajan. I don't want to fight more Trajans. True. Everybody, dude, there's some funny saying. I forget exactly how it goes. It's like first they laugh at you, then they're mad at you, and then they fear you. Something like that. Right? Everybody laughed when I said Trajan was good, and then they got mad, and now they're all afraid of Trajan. GG. We've come full circle, baby. Fear the Trajan. Let's go, Trajan meta. Wow. Honestly, hey, it's too early to call it a Trajan meta when we just see just these two teams using it, but as we spectate other matches, which we will be doing throughout the day, so consider subscribing if you haven't already. You know, as we spectate other matches throughout the day, be on the lookout for that. Of course, I've also got my own YouTube channel. I think the link is in the description. You can check that out. All of the casters for these matches that have their own channels are, I believe, linked in the description in their respective matches where they're casting. So big shout out to all the casters today. Big shout out to all the players today. And congratulations again on the truly commanding victory for 466S. And big shout out to 75 DC. Great team, outmatched by 466S. But like I said, really amazing players on both teams here. As the matchup now comes to a conclusion, we'll see that summary scoreboard one last time. 466S the victor. The MVP, however, from 75 DC, Lady Irene. And let's get a look. Provision score, 2,287. I mean, yeah, they won 2 arcs. They had control of all the arcs the entire time. They won the occupation game. They won the provision score. And they won on total kills. So that is a clean victory for 466S. If you enjoyed today's live stream, subscribe to the channel, and we'll be back later today for more Osiris League Grand Prix gameplay. You are not going to want to miss it. Until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom, and I'll see y'all real soon in the next cast. We'll be back at 14 UTC.